Sarah Hursthouse is a dog behaviourist from Alsage and joins us now. Hello, Sarah.
Good morning.
And this is my question. Good morning to you. Can you ever trust a dog with a child?
Well, it's a good question. Maybe we should word it the other way and say, can we ever trust a child with a dog? Because I think that's perhaps a better way of thinking about it, really. Dogs are dogs at the end of the day. They are animals. They can be unpredictable. They will defend themselves. And I think it's up to us to educate children, certainly if they're old enough to be educated, or if not, protect them from possibly what could happen, because I don't think you can ever fully 100% trust the situation, no.
I'm interested that you wanted to turn that question round. That tells me that you think perhaps a dog would never attack a child unprovoked.
No, I don't know. I don't think that's at all. No, I think it's a possibility. I think when you have a dog, you always have to be aware that one day that dog may bite. It's their natural defence mechanism. Just as a human being put into a certain situation, if somebody tried to attack your child or steal your property, you will react defensively, and dogs certainly will do that. And I don't know why we're surprised sometimes when they do.
But I'm talking about the unprovoked attacks, and however rare they may be, you can't deny they happen.
No, they do, but when you say an unprovoked attack, you've got to look at the wider picture.
Okay.
It was interesting that the one you just quoted, somebody's called in and said, when the wife had a baby, the dog turned bad, and that made me smile, because probably what actually happened is that dog's routine completely changed. It probably didn't get anywhere near as much attention and stimulation as it used to be. Maybe the exercise was reduced. Maybe the dog was confined more. So there's lots of things, but it's all about what we do with the dogs and how we handle the dogs. So if you're asking if will a dog will attack unprovoked, have a look at the wider picture. Is that dog, has that dog been socialised and had some training? Is it fed correctly? Is it exercised and stimulated correctly? So you have to look at all of that before you can decide, is this dog, really a dangerous dog, or is it just the way it's being handled?
Can you actually train a dog to be more careful around children?
I think what you've got to do is prepare a dog. So perhaps for in families where first child is on the way, then there's lots certainly that you can do to prepare that dog for the changes in routine, for getting them used to seeing baby things about, baby toys about, different sounds. You can get them used to sounds. There are apps and CDs you can get, so dogs get used to the sound of a crying baby, for example. So all of those things can trigger a predatory response in a dog, really.
This is interesting. Sorry, on that, I've got this text from Anne in Harts Hill. She says, just a thought about the dog question, Perry. People give dogs squeaky toys to play with. She asked, could this be part of the problem? Can a dog tell the difference between a gurgling baby and a squeaky toy?
Well, not necessarily, no. That can be an issue. When you hear of incidences where it's young babies, then often you do think, is this something to do with? It's not so much the squeaky toy. We use squeaky toys with dogs because we instinctively want to use their predatory drive. Dogs have a predatory sequence, and it's important to let dogs be dogs, because otherwise they'll become frustrated animals and the behaviours will come out in a bad way. So we want to use their natural prey drive, their chase instinct, all of these sort of things when we're exercises and playing with our dogs. So squeaky toys, brings out their natural predatory instincts, and you've seen dogs pick up, squeaky toys and they shake them around, and of course that's their killing part of the sequence coming out and shaking things around. So maybe sometimes, dogs do get confused. But again, you can prepare dogs for that. If you're having a baby, I work with people. I'm going to see somebody this week who they're having a baby. So I'm going around and I'm going to give them lots of advice on what you do. And certainly one of those is preparing a dog for the sound of a crying baby.
So are you saying that the squeaky toy, there's a time and a place, perhaps on a walk?
No, not necessarily. No, I think it's fine to play with squeaky toys. My dogs have squeaky toys, you know, and it is a different sound. It is a different sound, and most dogs wouldn't have a problem or wouldn't get that confused.
But you only need one to get it wrong, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. You know, and let's not lose sight of the fact that when there are serious dog attacks, these are rare occurrences. You know, I think everybody thinks, oh my goodness, you know, it's dangerous to have children with dogs, and yet there are millions and millions and millions of interactions every day between children and dogs that are absolutely lovely and fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, but it is as much about, the reason I said right at the beginning, it's as much as about, can you trust a child with a dog? Many children are not educated by their parents or even schools or anything like that about how to recognise dog body language and their behaviour and how to behave appropriately around dogs. You know, only the other day he posted something on social media saying, oh, look how cute is this? And it was a child hugging this big dog, and everybody's saying, oh, how lovely. And yet actually I looked at the dog, and the dog quite clearly was giving off really signals that it really did not want to be hugged.
Yeah, and you could see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Its ears were pinned back, its eyes were wide, it was turning its head away. You know, and these are basic body language things about dogs that you know, people should understand, really.
Yeah, and you need someone to say, now, that's enough, he's not happy, you can see. And you pull your child away. Sarah, just one final question. From your sort of experience, when would you say, at what age can you leave a child with a dog? Or never, until they're an adult?
Well, it's a difficult question, isn't it? Certainly a young child, never. No, I don't think young children should be left unsupervised with dogs ever, because there's always going to be an odd incident where that child could, you know, do something. I mean, we had an incident. I have a child who's 8 years old, nearly 9, and the other day she accidentally stood on the dog's tail, and the dog jumped and growled. You know, but to me, that's a normal dog reaction, just like we would jump and probably exclaim if somebody trod on our toe.
It's like the dog equivalent of swearing at the child or something.
Absolutely, yes, it is. Remember, that's the only defence mechanism dogs have. So it is, yeah.
Okay.
But, you know, so I certainly when you get to teenagers and things like that, I would imagine, you know, you can be less vigilant. But even then, they've got to know a bit about dog behaviour, and it's up to us as owners, trainers, in schools. I don't think there's enough done in schools. I've repeatedly approached schools to say, do you want me to come in and talk about dog safety? And nobody's ever taken
Really?
on it. Yeah.
That is fascinating.
So, so I think in schools, children should be educated on how to approach dogs and how to handle them.
That's a whole new phone in. What should they be teaching in schools? I've got a few ideas on that one, but we'll save that for another day. It's BBC Radio Stoke.